Ramsey Network, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you get control of your money, get ahead in your career, and get on the path to living well. I'm George Campbell, your host, joined today by best-selling author and Ramsey personality, Christina Ellis. And we are excited to take your calls on life and money and student loans, because that's what's on your mind most likely. The number to call is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. All right, Christina, last week was just bananas, and you were doing a whole bunch of media around this whole student loan forgiveness issue. What is the kind of the take of the landscape as you've been doing media?
Ooh, it's been wild. There has been so many emotions, so many questions. Obviously, a lot of people were waiting for this decision. It's been pushed down the road since March 2020, and a lot of people have been feeling anxiety and concern. And an announcement was finally made, and it's just kind of had emotions all over the place. A lot of people are obviously happy if you got your loans forgiven. I'm sure you're happy. There's a lot of people who are excited and celebrating, and there's a lot of people who are pretty angry. I actually posted something on my Instagram asking for people's feelings about it, seeing how they felt.
Oh boy,
Woo.
Dangerous.
I know, it was dangerous. I got a lot of interesting comments, but probably about 80% of people who responded were pretty upset about it. They either, paid off their loans, or they went to college debt-free. They worked really hard to go to college debt-free. Maybe they didn't go to college. They based their career decision out of, not wanting to take out loans. And now they're like, oh man, this is a huge thing. Not only in, that's not what they believed was going to happen to begin with, but also for the taxpayer dollars, how's it going to get paid for? There's just a ton of emotion around this topic right now.
Yeah, I saw a video that was going viral. It was an older one, maybe from 2020, Elizabeth Warren, and this father came up to her and said, hey, I've got a question for you. I worked my tail off to pay for my daughter to go to college. Am I going to get forgiveness? Am I going to get money out of this? She said, of course not. And so he was going into this. My buddy was sitting here being lazy, not doing anything, and he's going to have his loans forgiven. And so there's a lot of uproar about this, and there's a lot of good reasons on both sides for people to be happy, for people to be upset. But I want to go over, in case you've been living under a rock, and just go over the facts of what we know, because right now it feels like there's more questions than answers.
Right.
And so if you don't know, President Biden announced student loan forgiveness, $10,000 for folks making up to $125,000, or if you're married filing jointly, $250K is the limit. And if you received a Pell Grant, it's up to $20,000, which I am actually for, because the Pell Grant is for those lower income folks who couldn't afford to go to college at all. And so that one I'm a big fan of. And the moratorium on student loans now ends December 31st. So they kick that can down the road. No payments, no interest till the new year. And then there was also changes based to the income-based repayment program. And so they're capping at 5% of income instead of 10%. So a lot of big changes there. That's the news. Right. Without any spin there. But the question is, are these changes finalized?
Yeah, that's a big question that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. A lot of people are celebrating right now, but it's important to realize that a lot of these changes could be challenged. I mean, Biden put this out there, and it could be challenged because a lot of people are wondering, can he do that? Can he do this without going through Congress? Is it going to be challenged by Congress, the Supreme Court? Yeah, there's just a lot of space and room for things to be changed. So, hold it slightly loosely. I know that's hard to say for somebody who's really counting on this forgiveness, but just realize a lot of the stuff isn't finalized, especially some of the details. So if you're waiting on forgiveness, you can sign up at studentaid.gov/subscriptions to get updates on the regular. They also promise that more details will be released in the next few weeks. So, of course, we'll keep people posted as we find out more.
Yes. And, of course, everyone's first thought was, well, how much is that going to cost? And it's up to the tune of about $300 billion, and that's just a ballpark number. And then you go, well, how many taxpayers are there if that's who the burden is going to fall on? About 144 million taxpayers, which equates to about $2,000 a person just on napkin math.
Right.
So that takes your breath away a little bit to go, we're going to forgive 10, but that's going to put 2 on every single tax-paying American, which is part of the outrage. And again, we don't know how this is going to be paid for, if it is going to be through taxes. They're saying, of course the White House is saying, no, we're not going to raise taxes. It's going to come from the deficit that we're going to create in other areas. And so I'll believe it when I see it, but that's the numbers.
Which is kind of crazy because, like, an individual, we couldn't just be like, hey, I have a present for you. I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it. But, here it is. And I think that's the question I keep getting is, how is this going to be paid for? How is this going to be covered? And it's not entirely clear, but people are feeling a little nervous.
Another piece of the puzzle here is, what is this going to do to the cost of college, which has already skyrocketed? And now it feels like colleges are going to be like, oh, sweet, now's our chance to raise the price even more.
Well, and that's the challenge, is that it doesn't really address that. They say that they want to control the cost of college, but there's not a lot of specifics for how that's going to actually happen. They say they want accountability, but we need college costs to really be controlled, because typically if loans are more available, colleges will take advantage of that. And especially with these new income-based repayment guidelines, it could really embolden people to take out more student loans. If they're saying now that this is going to be capped at 5% of your income, it could be easy for students to say, well, hey, if it's going to be 5% of my income, why not take out a bunch of student loans? Because after college, I'm only going to have to pay for up to 5%. So what does it matter if I take out $50,000 or $100,000? And that's really concerning, because that's still going to be a challenge to pay back. That is still debt. And I think it's just really challenging, because we already have a struggle with 18-year-olds taking out student loans. A lot of times they don't understand what that feels like after graduation to pay back. And now with these rules changing, it's just really concerning for, one, what it could do for the cost of college if colleges are going to raise prices as a result of that, and two, just if students are truly going to understand that this debt is not something they should take on.
And another piece of the puzzle is the anger of people who are going, well, I paid off my student loans, what about me? And so the good news for those folks is that if you made payments after the pause, then they're saying you're going to get a refund. And that's directly from the U.S. Department of Education. And I did find out how these refunds are currently working. And this is based on someone saying, here's what my student loan servicer told me. So the student loan companies are not just writing you a check. What they're doing is they're taking your zero balance and reverting it back to $10,000 balance.
Ouch.
So you're going back into debt with then the hope that the government will eventually forgive that. So that's what's actually happening. No one is just cutting checks, going, here you go, here's your money back. They're just reverting the balances and then saying, now you can wait to see what the government does.
Wow. And I've had a lot of questions from people saying, I did pay on my loans during the pandemic. Should I seek out that refund or not? And I mean, I say it's really up to you. A lot of people that I've talked to don't want to get that refund because they felt like it was their student loan. They paid it off and they're proud of that. And we've also told people that if you do get that refund, like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just really what helps you sleep better at night. Whatever is going to make you feel more at peace, that's really what you got to do. But
I'll be honest, I feel like $10,000 would make me sleep pretty good at night. So if you're in my shoes, I'd be taking it if I had paid it, and I'm going, sweet. It's the exact same thing as taking advantage of, a stimulus check, for example. That's something where the government was saying, here's the money, and we go, okay, even if you don't agree with it, you're still going to take the money and apply it to your financial journey, and that's great.
Yeah, I think I've talked to a lot of parents too, though, that they're worried about the national debt. They're worried about this burden going on to their kids, and so I think just out of principle, they're kind of saying, I don't want to. But really, I mean, you could go either way.
But the bottom line is we're all sleeping better when we're debt-free. And so make that a priority in your life, no matter how you got to do it, as long as it's legal. Okay, folks, don't get any ideas here.
Don't be shady.
Hey, folks, more of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. I'm George Camel. She's Christina Ellis. This is The Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs.
We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
I'm George Camel, joined today by Christina Ellis. This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones, 888-825-5225. Yusuf joins us in Detroit, Michigan. Yusuf, welcome to The Ramsey Show. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great. How can we help today?
Yeah, so I guess this is kind of similar to student loans, but not exactly. So I graduate undergrad in December. I have about $20,000 right now in student loans, and I'm looking to go to med school next year, hopefully. And so I know Dave and some of you other guys have answered questions about how to finance, or no, not how to finance. You guys don't agree with finance and how to pay for med school. However, when it comes to like scholarships from the schools or whatnot, I don't really have any outstanding academic achievement or athletic achievement. So it's like almost 99% sure I'm going to have to take out loans. Now, here's the bulk part of my question. Due to religious reasons, any interest on loans is like a kind of a no-no, whether it's paying interest or collecting any interest payments. And so for faith-based reasons, I don't think I would at all feel comfortable, even if it's federal loans or private loans, because there's no way I would pay it back quickly enough and that interest doesn't accrue. So I guess it's a two-part question. One, what would you say is the best way to pay for med school if it's someone like me who doesn't have like a 4.0 and the best grades in the world and the best, MCAT scores and whatnot? But also, that's the first part. And then the second part is, if where it's most likely going to happen, I'm going to have to take out loans. Is there any kind of organization or any way that you guys know of that I could get some kind of interest-free loans if I need to take one out for school?
I'm going to let Christina run with this one first, and then I'll give you my take.
Yeah, that's a great question. I know med school is a challenging one. We get this question quite a bit because it is a beast to try to tackle sometimes when you're trying to pay for it. A lot, like you said, some of these scholarship programs are pretty competitive. But one of the very first things you can look with med school that I think a lot of people overlook is your school selection. There are med schools that are super expensive and there are some that are a bit cheaper. So the very first spot I would look at is what is the cheapest med school I can go to that I'm still going to have a great degree and be able to graduate debt-free. Obviously, you can work while you're in med school. I know it's a very tough program, so that can be kind of hard, but try to work and pay as you go. And then another great option is the military or some sort of commitment program where, of course, you're basically committing that you're going to work for a certain period of time, but they pay for your education and you get experience as you go. Now, when it comes to the question about zero interest loans, I'm not familiar with any of them. Obviously, there's some different foundations and organizations that do scholarships and fellowships, but typically when somebody is giving out a loan, they have a motive. Like
they're in it to make money.
Right. They want to make money.
Yeah.
So I think that part might be tough to find, but I think you can still be really strategic in figuring out how to go debt free. What's your take, George?
I totally agree. If this is something that is against your, religious beliefs, then you got to say, I got to find another way. And that might mean being creative. It might mean delaying med school. You said you've got $20K in debt right now. What is the urgency to go to med school? Could you work for a while and then save up and cash flow it?
I suppose. I mean, I haven't really thought about it like that. However, the minimum, even in public in-state, I'm in Michigan, even the minimum public in-state med school is going to cost around about like $40K a year. And so 40 times 4 gets me $160. And me or my parents don't, and I don't know how long it's going to, I only have in December, I'll have a bachelor's of science in neuroscience. So it isn't exactly a degree in which I can go and get like a high 5-figure job right out the gate. So it wasn't something that I thought about. I did think about something called the MD PhD program, where essentially you get both an MD degree and a PhD degree. However, it's double the length. So instead of 4 years, it's 8 years. However, it's free. Actually, you get a stipend, you get paid. So I've been thinking about that, but I haven't actually never thought of just delaying it and just try to save up. No.
I mean, if you can get into one of those MD PhD programs, that's incredible, and it will take longer, but you also will leave there making an incredible income and zero payments.
Well, one of the challenges with the MD PhD program is you did say that you're more of an average student and don't really have any standout achievements. Those are pretty competitive programs to get into. They're similar to getting a competitive scholarship or a competitive fellowship. That being said, you may want to try for it regardless. I'm all about shooting for the stars and giving it a shot. I mean, you don't have anything to lose by trying, but those are typically pretty competitive. And with what George was saying about potentially working first, a lot of hospitals have programs with tuition assistance. So maybe you could even find a hospital where you can work in a research lab and potentially have them pay for part of your education as you move forward. I think one of the biggest things is just being really creative and strategic. I love that you're saying, hey, I am not going to take out a loan with interest. Like, that is a hard line. And I think whenever you make that hard line in the sand and you say, hey, I'm not doing this, no matter what happens, no matter what the cost, you're more likely to be strategic. I love that you're even calling into the show, because that means you're thinking outside the box and you're thinking, what can I do? But, look into, how do you feel about possibly going into the military or serving in that way?
I've looked, okay, so I'll say this. I'm a dual Canadian-American citizen, and so I could technically, I'm only applying to med school here in the States. However, I guess my biggest fear would be just, actual deployment, regardless, let's say I'm in med school the next 4 years and, all of a sudden, boop, we're going to war. It's something that I thought of, but I'm just way too scared. However, you did mention something about hospitals and paying. I have over 1,000 hours of research. I have 3 publications. And so I actually didn't know that there are some hospitals here in the country, I'm not sure where exactly, but I didn't know that there are some hospitals that will help pay your tuition. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to some students who've worked through it that way. But hey, you just said you have 3 publications and 1,000 hours you've already done. That's impressive.
I'd hire this guy.
Right?
That's amazing.
I'm like, hey, you do still need to go for these fellowships and these scholarships, because that is impressive.
Thank you. I guess for me, the best thing to do right now is, first of all, get accepted, because, I need to go to med school first to even think about how I'm going to pay for it. And then, or I may have to just end up waiting a year and then applying for 2024. And hopefully I can find one of these programs or work at a hospital with a research lab that'll help finance or help pay in exchange that I would do in my residency, or I would work for them after residency, something like that. But that's something to look into.
Could you retake the MCAT as well?
I get my MCAT score tomorrow.
Ooh. All right. Fingers crossed, man. That could be a big help for sure in getting into a more affordable school, getting any kind of scholarship. I know it's tough. I don't want to just belittle the situation. It's very difficult to cash flow med school. We're not trying to pretend like there's a magic wand you can, it's just easy, just apply for some scholarships. But also, if I decide tomorrow that I want a $500,000 house, it's going to be hard to afford it when I just decided.
Right.
So a part of this conversation is, going, all right, I want to go to med school. It may need to be 4 years from now to where I can cash flow this experience, because I have family members who have done that, and they went, all right, I'm going to be a nurse for the next 5 years, and then I'm going to go to med school. I'm going to be a nurse practitioner, wait a few years, get some experience, make some money, and then go to med school. And what you don't want to do is go, I'm just going to go $300,000 into debt at whatever school I get into, and I'll figure it out later.
Right, because we have seen some doctors in some serious debt, and it's like, even though they have the great income, they are feeling incredible weight and anxiety. So you don't want to just go that route. And it may be delayed gratification. You may have to work, like you said, 4 years, do something else, but that extra little time can pay off huge in the long run.
I know. In med school alone, you're like, okay, so 8 years from now, I can be doing this. It's a long journey, and it's something you got to really commit to. It's hard to quit halfway through, and then you feel like I just wasted a lot of time. A lot of sunk cost fallacy in there. So, man, this is a big decision, but we're pulling for you, and the fact that you even called us wanting to have this conversation gives me a lot of hope that you're going to figure out a way, Yusuf. So thank you so much for the call. Keep us posted. We'd love to help along your journey. 888-825-5225. Let's talk about your life and your money. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
I'm George Camel, host of the Fine Print Podcast and the Entree Leadership Podcast. Joined today by Christina Ellis, best-selling author and Ramsey personality. If you want to check out any of the shows I mentioned, including this one that you're listening to, you can find them all on the Ramsey Network or wherever you listen to podcasts. Open phones, 888-825-5225. Julia joins us up next in Hartford, Connecticut. Julia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks guys for taking my call. My question is, I work at a college and don't get paid a lot, and money is very tight. And my children are 14 and 15, and one of the benefits is that they get free college tuition. So I'm trying to decide, do I stay there for the next 8 years or so to get that benefit, or do I leave somewhere and make more money?
That is quite the dilemma. So what does this school cost?
Tuition alone is $40,000 a semester. Today's rates for both of them to go 4 years each and commute, it will be $20,000 total. I'm divorced, so my half would be $10,000.
What is your current pay at this college?
It's $40,000.
And how much do you think you could earn if you worked somewhere else?
I'm going to say 50 to 60.
Okay.
What kind of work are you doing?
I do paperwork in one of the departments. I'm not a teacher.
Okay. So are you saying you'd go work at another university that would definitely pay more? Are you sure of this?
Maybe not necessarily university, but just something else in my field.
You said you do paperwork. Is that something you could do in the private sector, maybe within a corporation that paid a little bit higher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 50 and 60 is also based on that estimate as well.
Yes, because I left a higher paying job for this job for the purpose of the education. But now after the divorce, money is very tight. And with my oldest being 15, the other concern is the child support will get split in half. And then a year and a half later, it'll be zero. Now,
this college benefit where you said it's free tuition. Is
Correct.
that one of the benefits where they're eligible to go anywhere in the state, or is it just at this specific college?
This college, and then they can go to other colleges, and I believe it would be the same tuition amount that's credited. So if tuition's $30,000, they get $20,000 credit.
Okay. And then tell us more about your kids. What are they kind of thinking about for the future? Are they for sure going to college? At least in their minds?
I mean, it changes daily. It could be an astronaut or a librarian or a bank robber. It all depends.
Great career choice.
They do want to go.
My worry is you sacrifice this your career, and then they go, "Nah, Mom, I want to go way over here across the universe. I don't want to go to that school last minute."
I'll be very unhappy.
And do they have to apply and get in still?
They're pretty much guaranteed in at my college if they go somewhere else. It's the normal process.
And I'm wondering, could you leave and then come back the year before they go to school, or does it not work like that? What is the time you have to be there?
You have to be full-time for 5 years, and at that point, I will have been in a full-time position there for 5 years, and I've been there coming up 7.
Okay.
Have you talked to any leadership about the possibility of moving up within the college? Are there any growth opportunities with where you're at now?
It wouldn't be advancement. It would be horizontal.
Okay.
And this is actually after a pay raise that I just got.
Okay.
Do you love what you do?
I do.
But the money is so tight right now. And you're saying the child support would run out how soon?
Yes. My oldest is 15, almost 16, so a couple more years.
And then what happens if you're still making the same salary?
So my ex-husband is set to retire about the same time that the kids will be 18, and hopefully he will retire on time, and then I will collect on his pension. If not, I definitely need a second job or a different career.
Have you had a conversation with your ex-husband about paying for college? Would he have money to pay for them if you ended up switching careers?
He would not. The money that we did have saved was used up by him, so there's zero in savings on my end. Well,
He drained the college savings for the kids?
Yes.
Oh, my
He used
goodness.
it on himself for school, which would have covered all of their costs.
That's brutal. Well,
Yeah.
here's my thing. I don't want you to suffer for 8 years in order to make this happen, because the truth is they have options and they have time to work. They can cash flow. They can do scholarships, and Christina can talk your head off all day about all the ways they can do that. And so I think I don't want you to get so, tunnel vision on this is the only way and this is where they're going to go to school and have that plan fall apart. I'd rather you go work somewhere else, love it, and then we figure out a new plan for how we're going to pay for college.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't want to diminish the $40,000 a year because that is significant. However, I do feel confident you can figure out other strategies to graduate debt-free. Obviously, yeah, that's where my area is, and I just love talking people through it because there are so many options, especially nowadays. And you have 14 and 15-year-olds. So if you were talking, your kids were in their senior year and it's next year that we're talking about, I'd be a little bit more nervous for you. I'd be like, let's get going now. But at 14 and 15, that's when my mom talked to me about going debt-free, and that gives them time to really put together a strategy to start building up their resume throughout high school, to work jobs when they're in high school, to start really thinking about how they can stand out in the scholarship application process. And I think if you're less stressed, if you're not feeling that weight of money worries, you're going to have a lot more time to pour into their lives and to help them figure out how they can go to college debt-free. I think that's going to be a win kind of in both directions. They're going to learn a lot through the process of figuring out how to pay for their own education, and you're going to feel a lot better being able to provide for yourself and your family and not feeling that weight and financial stress.
Well, Julie, I want to gift you two things before we go here. One is Ken Coleman's book, From Paycheck to Purpose. That's for you to advance in your career, get paid more, do what you love. So hang on the line. Austin will send you that. And we're also going to gift you a code to watch Borrowed Future, our documentary on the student loan crisis, with the kids, and then start a game plan, start a conversation for how we're going to do this thing. So hang on the line. Austin will pick up. We'll get you both of those. David joins us up next in Pinehurst, North Carolina. David, welcome to the show.
Hey, George and Christina, how are you guys?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Living the dream.
Your phone sounds like you're a robot. Can you fix that for us?
How's that?
That's a little better. What's going on?
So, a question for you guys. I got a little bit of context first. My wife and I recently became debt-free. We're actually coming on the show, not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday to do our debt-free stream.
Oh, awesome.
Congratulations.
So, hopefully get to meet you guys next week. But currently, we're sort of working on bumping up our life insurance. We both have insurance through our employers, term insurance. And we both work outside the home. We have pretty fairly equal incomes. We have one child. We don't own a home. We're debt-free now. Like I said, we both have term policies. We're looking to try to get up to 10 to 12.
You're breaking up on us here, David. So what's your income and what's her income?
We're both making about $100 now.
Each?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And how much is offered through work?
So we both have about a $500,000 policy now.
Okay. So that's a great start, but we always say you don't want to rely on that, because if you switch jobs, that's over and you got to restart, and now you're paying a whole lot more to sign up for term life later in life. So you want 10 to 12 times your income, which for you guys you're looking at, $1 million, $1.2 million policy each. And I would just tack that onto the $500 you already have. It's not going to cost that much. How old are you two?
We're both in our mid-30s, 35.
Mid-30s, and both healthy?
Yes, very healthy.
Go jump on to our website, RamseySolutions.com, and click on Trusted Pros. Get connected with Xander, and you can actually play around with those term life quotes online, and they're surprisingly affordable for young people who are super healthy. I'd go ahead and lock that in now before you come here for your debt-free scream. That's a huge step you guys are taking.
So, George, we did go through Xander, and I guess the question is for us is that my salary is projected to be probably 5 to 10-fold of what it was in the next 10 years or 15 years.
Okay.
So what would you look out? Would you increase the dollar amount since we're locking in rates now? And would you decrease the length of the term based on, us being financially stable now?
I would still do a longer term since you guys are younger, and you can always add more later. What we did was I got my new one in place that was cheaper, and I got rid of the old one. Sometimes it makes sense to just add another one on top of that, and you can kind of ladder it. So you can go either way. You can do the math and see what's more affordable, but as long as you've got that in place, you're going to be debt-free soon, man. That's awesome. Way to go. Times have you found yourself saying, one day, when you're thinking about a goal that you have, one day I'll be able to buy a house, one day I'll be happy with my career, or one day I won't have to battle with anxiety anymore? Well, stop waiting around. Whatever your one day is, you gotta start now. That's why we created Smart Conference. It's the one-day event, get that, where we tackle all areas of your life, and we can all use that kind of boost right now. You're going to hear from the nation's top thought leaders on money, career, mental health, relationships, marriage, and leadership. This is like the Ramsey buffet. This event is hitting the road. We're going to Dallas, Texas on Saturday, October 22nd, and event passes are selling fast. VIP and Platinum, already gone, sold out. But we still have general access passes for just $39 for a whole day event. Best-selling authors and world-class speakers include Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, Christina Ellis, Dave Ramsey, and I'll be there too. In full force, guys. This is a fun event, and not to mention we've got some special guests, Craig and Amy Groeschel from Life Church, talking about leadership and marriage. It's going to be awesome. Lots of surprises, very entertaining, live music, just for $39. You can't beat that, Christina. Come on.
That's incredible.
Go get your passes. It's worth traveling. A lot of people fly all over the country to see us at these big arena events, so it's worth it, worth the drive, worth the flight. RamseySolutions.com/events is the place to get your passes. This event is going to sell out. Can't wait to see you guys there. So, Christina, before we went to the break, we were talking to our friend who's coming to do his debt-free scream soon, and he was asking about life insurance, and I wanted to clarify because we ran out of time and his phone sounded like he was from outer space. But we say you want 10 to 12 times your income in a life insurance plan, term life only, no whole life, run as far away as you can from anything that says permanent or whole life in there. Yes. And the reason we say to get a 15 to 20-year term life policy is because if you're following our plan, if you go all in on this stuff, meaning you have a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, you're going to be self-insured by the time the policy runs out. So you're going, well, what happens in 15 years? Don't I need life insurance? You shouldn't, because for 15 years, you've been investing 15% of your income. You now have a paid-for house, so you have tons of money in the bank, tons of money in retirement, no payments, which means if something happened to you, which, by the way, is the only reason you need term life, don't get this on your 1-year-old. They don't need it. You do it to replace income. So unless your 1-year-old is crushing the game, they don't need life insurance. Then you'll be self-insured after the term is over. So if you're interested in learning more, every single person needs this if someone relies on their income. So parents, this is you. Spouses, this is you. Jump on to RamseySolutions.com and connect with our friends at Xander. And it is super, super affordable to get term life, especially the younger you are, the healthier you are. This is super easy to do, and it is worth your time to do it.
Well, and I think it's one of those things that so often it's kind of easy to not prioritize that. It's like you feel like it's going to be this thing that's going to take a long time, and you just kind of put it off. But this is something that's so important. If something happens and you have children, do it today. This will probably take about 30 minutes of your time to get on and sign up.
And a lot of them have no medical exam, and you can complete them online.
Right.
I chose to have someone comes by the house, they take some blood, and make sure that you're in good health. But if you've had recent blood work done, a lot of times they can use that as well. So there are a lot of options out there. So get connected to them. They will find you quotes from the top-rated companies around the country. They're not beholden to one company, which is what we always tell you to do. Shop independently to get the best rate. Get that in place today. All right, open phones, 888-825-5225. Baltimore, Maryland is where we're heading next. Evan joins us there. Evan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. How can we help?
So I'm 21 years old. Me and my wife just had our first child.
Congrats.
And, thank you. And I work for the railroad. I'm a fourth-generation railroader.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rock and roll, man.
Yeah. I'm on track to make $100,000 this year, and my wife wants to know we should be pocketing any money aside for a 401k setup, even though you had the railroad pension. In reality, I've seen 2 sets of grandparents retire on the railroad right now off of this railroad pension, and they're not hurting for money. And they never invested because we don't get any match whatsoever because of the retirement. I don't collect Social Security on this retirement either. So basically, it's just investing money for ourselves in the future, whatever we want. But my question is, should I be?
What is the details of the pension? Is this mandatory? Are you contributing anything?
Yes, I contribute about 30% of my paycheck.
Wow, that's a big chunk. No wonder you can retire.
Well, I'm going to be paying it for the next 40 or 38 years. We've already invested 4. So, I mean, should I invest in a 401k? I mean, in all reality, wouldn't that just be like money set aside for as play money, so to speak?
I mean, it never hurts to do more, but we only want you to do more than 15% after you are in baby step 7, which means you have a paid-for house. Do you guys have a paid-for house?
No, I still owe $140.
Okay. So here's how we look at pensions. Because they're finicky, you don't have control over it. But if you are making mandatory contributions from your own paycheck, meaning the company isn't paying in, you are, we count that at about half. So you told me they're making you contribute 30%?
Yeah, so I have my tier. So it's a 2-tier system. I have my tier, and then she has hers. So I pay in full, and I basically pay half of what I put in for mine for hers. So basically, she gets a pension. It's like 1.5.
Oh, interesting. Well, if you're telling me 30%, we would count that at half at 15%, which means you're right on track. So you would not need to contribute any more. So I would then focus all extra money on paying off that house early and saving for college, which you got a newborn, so you got plenty of time to cash flow the college experience.
Yeah, he's 10 months tomorrow.
Oh, man, what a bright future.
And can I just say, what a rock star, 21 years old, $100,000.
No, do you have a college degree?
No, never went to college one day.
Boom.
That's incredible. I think you are a shining example of the trades and that there are alternate options to making incredible income very early on.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy what you do, Evan?
I do. I love it.
That's awesome. Man, we're so pumped for you. So, yeah, I would stay the course. You're already doing that 30%. That's plenty right now. Once you guys hit baby step 7, you pay off the house, then you can start, if you want to fund a Roth IRA, if you've got other options like a 401k, then I would look into alternative investments like that. And that will allow you to retire early, I'd rather have way too much in retirement than not enough.
Right. And at 21 years old, if you walk out this plan, if you pay off the house and then start investing extra and above, I have no doubt y'all are going to be baby step millionaires by, 30?
Oh, absolutely. That's incredible.
Incredible.
All right. Leslie joins us up next in Los Angeles. Leslie, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's going on?
So, well, first and foremost, I'm newly pregnant. I'm due in December.
Congrats.
Thank you. I recently just came across, my grandfather left me an inheritance of $55,000 plus some cash. So I'm in the process of personally paying off all my debt. I just have my student loan that'll be paid off by the end of the month.
Awesome.
My question is this, because I'm trying to follow the steps. My husband has no debt except for his auto loan, and then we have a mobile home together that we still owe money. So I'm kind of battling in between, should I pay off his auto loan or should I go ahead and invest some of that money?
You guys are married,
and
right?
If so, what do I invest in?
So why would you not pay off his auto loan?
To be quite honest, I have no idea. I don't know. We've played around with the idea because we're trying to save all the money we can. So I'm literally just sitting on this. I put it in a high yield savings and I'm just sitting on it. And he's just like, we need to save the money because of the baby.
What's the total amount of all the debt you have outside of the mobile home?
$10,000.
Oh, write a check and pay everything off today, including the auto loan. What's left on the mobile home?
$140.
Okay. Whatever's left over, you can apply to that and start knocking that off. Are you investing 15% of your income beyond that?
No, because I'm unemployed, and so I know that he has his 401k and everything set up with his job, so he's investing in that. But I was wanting to take a little bit of that cash that I got to invest, but I don't know what to invest in.
Okay.
I think it's super important to make sure you have an emergency fund as well, too. So once you get that debt knocked out, we want to have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund and then focus on investing.
Yeah, there's a time and place for it, but we got to pay off all the debt, then we start investing, then we're focused on paying off the mortgage. Thanks so much for the call, Leslie. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to all the folks in the booth and my co-host, Christina Ellis, and to you, America. Thanks so much. We'll be back with you before you know it. Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube. From Ramsey Network, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you get control of your money, get ahead in your career, and get on the path to living well. I'm George Camel, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast on the Ramsey Network, joined today by best-selling author Christina Ellis. And we are excited to take your calls about life, money, investing, emergency funds, paying off debt, how to pay for college, how to get rid of student loans, you name it, we are here for you, America. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Melody kicks us off in Miami. Melody, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
We are happy to take it. You are so excited, and we love that for you.
Awesome. So I'm on baby step, or we are on baby step 4, 5, and 6, and I'm trying to get more refined in how I do the paying for college. I've done a couple things, or my husband and I have, like doing prepaid tuition, which I know you don't recommend. And we're also within spitting distance of paying off our mortgage. So I'm just trying to refine what I'm doing there.
All right. How old are the kids?
12 and 8.
All right. And what's your income?
$320 before, gross.
Well, that's great news. Fantastic income. And where are you guys at currently with saving for college?
Well, we have prepaid tuition, which is like a 4-year university plan, which the value of that, if we can take it out, is $26K and $27K, so it's about the same. And we've got a UTMA for my son that's like 10 and a Coverdell, and then another 529, which I'm not sure exactly where that is because I didn't do it. That was my husband, but I got to look into that. And then for my daughter, who's the 8-year-old, we also have a UTMA and Coverdell and 529. So total for my son, who's 12, we've got about 40, and then plus that prepaid tuition, and then for my daughter is 25 and the prepaid tuition.
Awesome. Well, you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
Are you worried about not being able to afford it?
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard, numbers like 180 for each kid and those kind of numbers. I'm wondering if we can even meet for the 12-year-old. And I'm just wondering if I'm being wise with, 3 years ago, I thought, okay, babysit 5, I'm just going to put it towards prepaid college and I'll be done. But, well, that's not going to pay for much. So with room and board and all that.
Well, yeah, like Georgia, I think you guys are doing awesome. This is a great start. I'm kind of curious, what has been your process for planning for this? Have you all kind of sat down and projected about how much you think each college or each student will spend, or what's your process look like?
Well, it's pretty disorganized, as you can probably tell. We've had various meetings, what would you like to do, this, that, or the other thing, and we just kind of have done it all.
I think
without the end goal in mind.
And that's kind of
without
where I would start is I think you all are doing well, and I think your heart's in the right place. I think you all are prepared to plan, but yeah, you said it kind of feels a bit disorganized, and I think that's where some of that anxiety is coming from, kind of not knowing what the target is, but yet feeling this weight of a mountain of college costs in the near future.
Well, how do you determine the target, though? I mean, I guess the SmartVestor Pro is the way to go, but, just like...
Yeah, so you can go with the SmartVestor Pro. They can help you figure out about exactly how much you need to be saving monthly to get to around where you want to get. But you can also go online. There are a lot of calculators where you can type in, if you think your student's going to go to public school, the cost of public school, and then it'll break down about how much you need to be saving each year in order to meet that goal. And you can do the same thing with private school, but kind of, it'll give you a ballpark so that you can kind of know how much you should be contributing monthly and if you're on track.
Right. So what about this prepaid tuition thing? Should I try to get out of that and try to be more proactive?
Do you know if there's penalties with that exact plan to get out of?
There's no penalty. There's no penalty. It's just you get what you put in as long as your kid hasn't gone to college yet.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would, if you can move that over to some of these other ones, like the Coverdale 529, I would do that.
Are y'all working with a SmartVestor Pro right now?
No.
I'm looking at your income and going, wow, that's impressive and amazing. And with $320,000 to invest and kind of figure out what you want to do, I would definitely sit down with somebody, and they can help you get organized with all these different accounts that you kind of have outstanding. They can help you figure out, what's the best vehicle to save in, how much do I need to be saving, each month, and just kind of get organized in your finances. Because I think that's where some of this just like anxiety is coming from. I think you guys are on a great pace, especially with that income. I think you're going to be able to definitely reach a really good spot in your college savings. But I think it'd just be helpful to have a plan, a really clear, succinct plan.
Melody, what's left on the mortgage?
50.
50? That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Okay, so just walk this out with me, Melody. You're going to have a paid-for house within the next year.
Yes.
Okay. So then we still have another 5 years for the first kid to even start college, and we're making $320, and it probably is only going to go up over the next few years. And you're telling me you wouldn't be able to cash flow the rest of school if you had, let's say, 100 in there, and school was going to cost $120 for the 4 years? You guys could cash flow this easily.
Really? Well, we were thinking with the mortgage being paid off that my husband could get a job that he would love more, and that would kind of give us a little more.
Do you take a pay cut, but he'd enjoy it?
Yeah, so he doesn't have to worry about, making as much as he needs. Even though he probably will. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't, but I think that's just one of his, just a little less stress.
About how much of a pay cut are you looking at?
Well, I mean, he could go. We make about the same, but he makes a little more.
Because even if he took a $40,000 or $80,000,
when you have no payments in the world and you're still making $250 or $220, you can still cash flow all of this.
70 or 80 or something. I mean, I can't imagine still being in the field and still, doing that because he's an engineering manager. But so you're thinking we can just cash flow the 12-year-olds?
Absolutely. Whatever the gap is. So we don't know what college is going to cost. We don't know what the 12-year-old's going to do. And so let's say school's going to cost $160,000 and you guys have $100 by the time he's 18, right?
Right.
Well, at that point, we know the gap. It's $60,000 and we need to cover that over the next 4 years. So we need to come up with $20,000, for 3 years if we can cash flow the first. So I think we just come up with a plan. I think a SmartVestor Pro is going to give you a lot of confidence in the plan. And right now it seems like you're doing 17 things at once and just hoping for the best. And I want to give you a little more clarity in this is what the future is going to look like if we follow this plan. So get connected with one at RamseySolutions.com. But you guys are doing great. With that kind of income and the fact that you're already saving and the kids are young, I think you can breathe easy and sleep well tonight. You guys have done really well. Great work. These are the kind of parents we need in the world, Christina.
Right.
Love it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
Every time you hear someone do a debt-free scream on the show, it's because at some point they said, enough! I'm not living like this anymore. I've had it. And when you get mad like that and do what they did, your life will change too. And right now, inflation and stupid credit cards are killing you. You've started to believe that you're not in control of your money. But you'd be wrong. You get to decide to control what you can control. And that's you. The guy in the mirror, the lady in the mirror, your behavior. You have the power to change your future, and Financial Peace University will show you how. This is the same course I went through almost a decade ago now that changed the way I handled money, changed the way I looked at money. It's a proven step-by-step plan that nearly 10 million people have used to beat debt, master budgeting, and build wealth. And you can do this too. Guys, stop letting debt and money stress control your life. Just say enough and take back your control. It's that simple and it's that hard. You can start Financial Peace University at RamseySolutions.com/enough. That's RamseySolutions.com/enough. All right, Christina, you know what time it is. It's time for our Blinds.com question of the day. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Gavin in Ohio. I'm 30 years old and I'm thinking about switching careers. I'm an HVAC technician but would like to jump into the nursing field. I like the trades, but it's just hard on your body. I was wondering how a person trying to get back into college would go about applying for scholarships. It seems like there are very few scholarships out there for people changing careers later in life. My wife and I are out of debt and I don't want to go back into debt. Well, good for you for starting from that position. I love that you've already put that line in the sand and you're saying, hey, I want to change, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'm not going to go into debt to do it. The cool thing is while it may be a little bit more challenging to find scholarships, there are a lot of programs to help you go back to school. For example, here in Tennessee, there's a program called Tennessee Reconnect, where it offers help and funding and guidance for adults who maybe did a different career and want to go back and get a 4-year degree. So I would start looking there. I would also consider tuition assistance programs. So there are a lot of companies or hospitals or labs that offer assistance for you to go back and get a degree. So perhaps you can get it completely paid for by an employer while still earning some money.
Absolutely. And I was just Googling, nursing programs in Ohio and seeing what it actually costs. So that's part of the homework is going, what does this cost? Where's the most affordable place I can go? You don't need to go to the best nursing school in the country. And then know that it's not going to be a jump into the nursing field. This is going to take some time. You're going to have to really commit to this. And that might mean delaying this dream by a few years. Keep working on HVAC. Kill it. You guys are out of debt, which is awesome. Let's start saving up as much cash as possible in order to cash flow this while we do our homework and look at all the programs and scholarships and tuition assistance that are out there. And that gives us a clear game plan. Christina, I feel like a lot of people just kind of wander in and they go, I don't really know what this is going to, I'll just take out loans. It'll be easier, instead of just doing the hard work of going, okay, what is this going to cost? Let's make a plan to get there, and debt is off the table. It's not an option. And that means we're going to get creative and we're going to work really hard to figure out how we're going to pay cash for this.
Well, and it's a little bit of work on the front end. When you really think about it, it seems like it's just easier to just jump in and start figuring it out later. But it's like, actually, if you take a 2-hour planning session on a Saturday and you lay this out and you do the research and you see all the options out there, it can literally save you thousands and thousands of dollars in the long run. But I love that line in the sand. I think Gavin has a great position starting, saying, hey, I want this, but I'm not going into debt to do this. That's awesome.
It starts with that decision. We're rooting for you, man. Thank you so much for the question. All right, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Kylie joins us up next in Salt Lake City. Kylie, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can Christina and I help?
Hey, I just have a question. We are completely debt-free except for our house. We owe about $140,000 on it. And my question is, would it be my dad built me this house 10 years ago, and so we have emotional ties to it. He's since passed away. But I am wanting to not work anymore and stay home with my kids. And so we're wondering if we should sell. We have quite a bit of equity in it. We built it in 2012. And we're wondering if we should sell it and buy a house outright with cash and leave the community that we love and the house that my dad built me and pay for a house in cash and be able to be a stay-at-home mom.
How much equity do you have in this house?
4 and 5. We have, it's currently appraised for about $750. So what would that be?
That's awesome.
That's great.
So we're talking about $600.
Yeah.
And what's about the price point you're looking at for other houses in the community? You said it's in the same town?
Oh, no, we would have to leave our community. Yeah.
How much further out would you have to go?
About 30 miles away.
Okay. And does that affect work at all for your spouse?
Yes. Well, I'm a hairstylist. I work out of my house, but the goal is to not work. And so I would be giving that up completely because my clientele is in my community, mostly that I live.
Is it an option
but for my husband, it wouldn't.
Is it an option for you guys to stay in the home and still cover the mortgage and have it be a reasonable portion of your take-home pay?
I would just have to work. We could stay in here.
You're saying you couldn't afford it just on your spouse's income?
Correct.
Okay.
How much does your husband make?
Kind of where we have young kids. He makes about $75,000 a year.
Okay.
What's your mortgage payment?
$1,300.
Okay. And what's his take-home pay?
He brings home about $1,700, $1,800 every 2 weeks. So
every 2 weeks. Okay. So close to $4,000 a month. It doesn't seem like that's wildly out of the ballpark. Is that on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage or 15?
That's on a 20.
On a 20. Okay. I'm wondering if we can make these numbers work. I assume that's after he's investing. You guys said you're out of debt with an emergency fund. Are you guys currently investing?
Right. No, he just puts 15% in his 401k.
Okay. Does that affect that take-home pay?
Yeah. Well, that's what his checks are every 2 weeks. So
okay.
About $1,700. Yeah.
I think if we can get his income up just a little bit, we can stay in this house. If this is the dream.
Well, and just even tightening the budget, because when I hear $75,000 and a $1,300 payment, that does seem doable. So
if you said the mortgage payment's $3,000, I'd go, oh my gosh, this is killing you guys.
Or if he was making $40,000. But yeah,
I don't see this as a huge problem if we can just get his income up a little bit and get this house paid off. Because it sounds like you really want to stay there, but you also really want to stay at home. And that's a tough, you're trying to weigh those two going, what's more important?
Right.
I mean, at some point, you may have to leave this house. And so at some point, we have to say goodbye and kind of grieve, the emotional attachment of this very special home that your father built and clearly did a great job.
Yeah, and you said you want to stay home with the kids. Do you currently, is your salon outside of the home?
No, it's inside of my home. But I work about 3 full days a week.
Do you think that you
it's starting to like cut into, you know, their sports and their extracurriculars. And
I wonder if you could kind of back things down kind of gradually, especially if you're kind of feeling uncomfortable with the idea of being going from having your income to not, and that's obviously making you consider the house situation and selling it. Could you kind of back it down slowly, maybe go down to like 1 day a week or even a half a day a week, just so you have a little bit more buffer room? How would that feel?
Yeah.
Have you guys looked into refinancing to a 15-year and seeing if that actually lowers the payment because of how much equity you have?
No, we haven't. Did we do that? I didn't know that.
I would reach out to Churchill and just crunch some numbers with them and see if we can get that further down without extending the loan, without raising the interest rate on this. But that might be an option. I don't see this as a fire scenario where I'm going, you got to sell the house. That would be a worst case scenario if this is really stressing you guys out and things are still too tight. That's when I'd start looking at that option.
Yeah, I think there's the possibility for a lot of creative solutions. I love that we look at this situation and it's like, you can do this, you can do this, you can try all these different scenarios before you have to sell this house that you love so much.
That's a big move. It's costly, and I'd only recommend it if it really catapults you, further in the baby steps. And right now it's not really doing that, and this house is really special. This is The Ramsey Show.
Chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Christina Ellis today, and we're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Xavier joins us in Jacksonville, Florida. Xavier, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How can we help today?
Hey, I just have a quick question. I love everything you guys do, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. I've learned so much from you guys that I wish they would have taught to us in high school. I'm 35. I'm actually calling on behalf of my mother. She came to me with a question about financial advice, and I really don't know what direction to send her or what advice to give her. My parents had to file for bankruptcy about 10 years ago. They bounced back from that, got better credit scores. Everything was good. My mom has kept a separate ledger. She's great on that, but unfortunately my dad did dive back into about $40,000 in credit card debt, including an auto loan. And she had asked me, she's thinking about, I think, refinancing her mortgage, their mortgage, and taking a cash out option to pay off his debt. Does that sound like a good idea? Because I don't really know anything about that. I don't own a home yet, but for some reason I'm just getting bad vibes from it. It doesn't sound like a very smart financial decision.
Well, you were a wise young man, and the fact that your mom came to you for financial advice tells me she knows that you have that kind of wisdom. And so you're right. We never advise a cash-out refi unless there's a divorce situation where you have to, let go of the money. So in that situation, I would say she's got to focus on paying off this debt. That's the only way to pay off debt is to pay off debt. And the cash-out refi is a shortcut, but what it does is set her on a path backwards to paying off her mortgage, which means she's not going to be able to retire with dignity.
Right, and that's what I'm worried about because, they're 55, so, wanting to retire hopefully in the next 15 years, I feel like you're going to be eating into your retirement. It's just not a smart idea. And I personally have always worn away from credit cards. I have 0 credit card debt, and so I'm still working on baby step 2. But, all right, I just wanted to make sure I gave her the right advice on that, so I do appreciate
what's
that.
The car
Would you
loan?
guys make...
How much? Do you know?
What, I paid off?
Oh, you said they have a car loan?
Oh, the auto loan, yeah. So my dad had an auto loan it was about $10,000 on a truck. I think, if I remember correctly, the bank offered him a settlement of $4,000 to pay it off because, unfortunately, he's been out of work for the last couple of years. And they're one, trying to repossess it, but two, they're like, listen, give us $4,000 and we'll call it even, obviously settling for less than the full balance.
And did they do it?
I told him, I said, if she can get a hold of the bank, that would be the smartest option to go with that and then work on the credit cards later on. But I just felt like, taking the cash out, I basically look at it as like a cash advance on your house. And it just doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do it on a credit card. Don't do it on your house.
Hey, have they taken financial peace?
No, they have not. No, I personally have just stumbled upon the whole Ramsey network in the last couple of months. I recently got into a new profession that I'm really loving and have quadrupled my income, and so I'm like, okay, I need to do everything the smart way and really make the right decisions for moving forward. And so I have no credit card debt. I actually just sold my car a couple weeks ago because my payments were like $900 a month, and I'm like, I don't want it anymore. I have another truck that it's an old hoopty, but $100 every couple. $100 every couple of weeks is nothing, for a random part that might break versus the $900 that I have to pay every month. So,
well, I love
I'm crazy.
I love your enthusiasm. That's amazing, and I would just encourage you to take that raw, excited enthusiasm and share that with your parents. Say, hey, I just found this plan. I am so excited about it. I'm just jazzed. This is how my life is changing. This is what I've done with my income, and just encourage them to take this journey with you, because with your dad going out and taking that extra debt without your mom knowing, it does sound like there's kind of some mindset stuff going on. So, the refinance, all these different things, that could kind of be a quick solution. But I think what really needs to happen is some heart change and for him to really buy into a program alongside your mom, especially so they can work together in the next 10 to 15 years and really make deep progress versus your mom kind of having that fear of, is he really on board, or are we just trying to figure out something really quick so we don't, we're not in debt in the immediate term.
Yeah.
Do you live near them?
Yes. I actually ended up having to move back in with them just before COVID hit because they both lost their jobs. And so I was covering the mortgage. I was in school at the time. I had to drop out of school to work buku overtime to cover the mortgage. And so I'm hoping that one day I can go back. But for right now, I just got my CDL and things have been great in that. So I am blessed with that. My mom, before that, unfortunately has MS, multiple sclerosis. And so there has been ups and downs with her health. And that was the big thing that worried me. I'm like, okay, what if you refinance? What if you do this? What if you do this? And what if something happens where you're in the hospital? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You guys, I know I'm younger than you and I know parents know best, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah. Well, Xavier, I'm going to do you a solid here. We're going to gift you Financial Peace University to go through with your parents. I want you to sit down every week, or if you guys want to watch more than that, sit down, watch all 9 lessons with them, have some hard conversations, and be their cheerleader. Be that supportive voice that says, you guys can do this. We're going to get back to work. We're going to get our incomes up when we can. Obviously, your mom's health plays a huge part in this, and so it might take longer. But if they want to retire and not be stressed about money, instead be able to focus on getting her health in order, then this is a huge step, getting them completely debt-free. So hang on the line. Austin will pick up, and we'll hook you up with Financial Peace University as well as our budgeting tool, Every Dollar.
Well, and I think it's so cool that you're doing it in this spot where you're actually going through it with them. This isn't a spot where, you're on baby step 7 and you're coming back and going, this is how you do it, and the parents feel shame and guilt, and it becomes this uncomfortable conversation. You are walking through this right now. You are jazzed. You are on fire. And I think if you're just authentic with that, that's a whole different approach. I think they're way more likely to get on board when it's coming from this spot of genuine heart change where you're going through it yourself, you're motivated, you're excited, and they can just jump on board with you. That's really cool.
Way to go, Xavier. All right, Stephen joins us up next in Dallas, Texas. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hey there, how are you?
Doing great. What's going on with you?
So I'm trying to determine if I've got a taxable investment account that I was set up with that I've contributed to for the past few years, and it's almost enough to clear out the mortgage.
Oh, it's awesome.
Now, obviously, there's some tax implications, right? Because it's, the growth, anything that is growth on it would be taxable. But I just kind of trying to figure out, okay, should I do this? It's a substantial enough amount where I'm just uneasy about it, right? To lose that money that's sitting there available.
How much is in that account?
$200.
And how much is left on your mortgage?
$242. And I have the other amount in my checking.
It's amazing.
More than that.
Does that include your emergency fund, or could you clear this without touching the emergency fund?
Without.
Wow.
The emergency fund would be separate.
How long have these investments been in there? Would you be looking at long-term capital gain rates?
I started it in 2017.
Oh, great. When is your last contribution?
It's monthly. It comes out every first.
So you'd have a lot less capital gains because of how long it's been sitting in there, which makes me feel better. And so it really depends on what's your income that you file taxes with.
It fluctuates, but I would say it's safe to say 240.
And that's single, or do you have a spouse?
Single. I have a spouse, but that's a single income.
So you're probably looking at a 15% rate on the capital gains there.
Okay.
So I'd connect with a tax pro and crunch the numbers of what you're going to owe. But as long as you have that amount set aside and you pay the taxes on that, dude, pay off the mortgage. That's amazing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the additional encouragement on it because it's hard to part with that.
That's a lot of money sitting there. But you know what? Freedom's on the other side of you cashing that thing out and paying off that mortgage. And that is priceless.
That's super exciting.
And then you have a fantastic income and it all stays with you. Imagine that. It all stays with Steven and your hard work, man. It is paid off. Your diligence, your consistency, your discipline in investing. That's inspiring. Way to go, man. We're so happy for you. Come and do a debt-free scream. Why won't you? I mean, that'll be fun, right?
Yes,
I mean, even if you use the investment account, that's an incredible achievement that most Americans don't even get to. So we're proud of you, man. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Christina Ellis. This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones, 888-825-5225. Lori joins us up next in Spokane, Washington. Lori, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
First off, I want to thank you for taking my call and let you know you guys do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
My question is, you're welcome. My question is, I live on Social Security, and I have a large amount of cash in my savings account. With the new law that's just come out with the IRS and everything, I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen with that money. It's in a very low interest account, so I'm not really making a lot. Should I take it out, buy gold? I'm afraid of the stock market, so I'm kind of lost and asking for your help.
Well, we appreciate the call, Lori. How old are you?
I'm 62.
Okay. And you're not working?
No, I'm currently on Social Security disability.
Okay. What does that amount to every month?
About $14.67.
All right. And that's all the money you have coming in?
Yes.
Are you able to survive and put food on the table and cover your bills?
Yes. I sold my house last year, and I bought a fifth wheel, so I travel. But I'm afraid to leave that money in my account. I don't know what they're going to do with it, with the digital currency thing they're talking about and the IRS stuff. And
how much money is in that account?
To make sure that my money's protected. A little over $100,000.
All right. Well, I want to ease
and then
your
I've
fears.
got a Roth IRA for about $900.
$900 in the Roth IRA?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is just in a general savings
and I'm
account?
afraid to put it.
The 100,000?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for starters, until we do something more drastic with it, you could put it in a high-yield online savings account, which would give you, right now the interest rates are sitting at about 1.7, 2%, somewhere around there. What's your money making right now?
Okay. 0.1, I think.
Okay, so we can do better than that. The long-term solution would be to connect with one of our SmartVestor pros and make this money work for you and get it into the stock market. I'm not talking about risky single stocks. We're not going to mess with gold. We're not going to mess with digital currency. We're going to put it in mutual funds and index funds that are diversified. And what that means is we're not investing in one single company or one single thing. We're investing across a whole lot of things that have a proven track record.
Okay.
But I would not put it in precious metals. Gold's got a terrible rate of return. That's not going to get you through retirement. And the best way to do it is to create some cash flow off of that 100,000. And it could, with a 10% return in the market, let's say, that could create $10,000 worth of income for you for a while.
And Lori, I'm wondering what's kind of the long-term plan in terms of housing? You said you sold your house and you're in a fifth wheel now. Is that
yes?
How long do you think you plan on living there?
Oh, as long as I can. I'm sure enjoying the traveling. But there's going to come a point where I'm not going to be able to physically do this by myself. So I'm guessing another 10 to 15 years maybe.
Well, that's another spot you could put. The money is in real estate. I mean, at some point, if you're not going to be living in a fifth wheel, it might be great to buy a little condo somewhere. It may not be huge with 100,000, but you could buy somewhere that could be somewhere you could stay and live out, the rest of your life. Somewhere that's solid, and you're not going to have to worry about it eating into the rest of your budget. How would you feel about buying property?
Well, I because I only make a limited income, I'm not sure if that's enough to even be able to buy property and have something left for emergencies or anything like that. So
is that 100,000? Is that everything to your name? That 100,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need to set aside 3 to 6 months of expenses. You don't have any debt of any kind?
I have no debt. I just my car insurance and my fifth wheel insurance.
Okay, great.
And fuel and food.
So I would set aside
everything is paid for.
At least 10 or 15,000 of that, and the rest I would look at investing with one of our SmartVestor pros into good growth stock mutual funds, index funds that can grow at a much higher rate than 0.01% because that sucks.
Yeah, yes, it does.
And so,
and do you have a suggestion of who I may contact, or it's hard to know anymore out there who you can trust. So.
Well, I've got good news for you. We have an entire team here at Ramsey that vets investment professionals across the country, including in the Spokane area. And so you can trust that they're going to take good care of you. I still want you to interview a few of them and work with the one that you have the best chemistry with, that you trust the most. And their job is to not tell you what to do with this money. It's to educate you and make you feel confident in that decision. And so you can jump on to RamseySolutions.com and click on Trusted Pros. And you'll just enter your zip code, and it'll show you a list of about 5 pros in your area, and give them a call, or they'll contact you, and we can start from there. But right now, sitting on the sidelines in fear is not going to be a great plan to retire with dignity, and I want that for you. And you may need to look into affordable housing because of your situation and see what the options are if we can't buy property.
Well, I do fortunately have a friend that owns a duplex, and so she knows when I get old that the other half's for me. So in that respect, I think I'm set.
That's what friends are for.
Sweet. Being homeless, but I do want to protect the assets that I do have, and if at all possible, have them grow. So that's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
And so you said RamseySolutions.com?
Yes. I'll make sure Austin picks up, and we'll get you connected over to one of our SmartVestor pros in your area who can walk you through all of this and make a plan for that money. Thanks so much for the call, Lori. Appreciate it. Manuel joins us up next in San Bernardino. Manuel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for answering my call.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a question. I recently changed jobs. It's closer to my house. They're paying me a little bit more. But my question is that I had a 401k, and I had quite a bit of money, like about $18,000. But I have that money there, so I don't want to. I wanted to switch it to either a 401k. If there's a way to do that, or
you said it's already in a 401k.
Yeah, in my recent job.
Is that a traditional 401k that it was in?
Yes.
Not a Roth. Okay. So what you want to look into is a direct rollover. That's the key word there, direct rollover to a traditional IRA.
Direct rollover?
Yes. And you can get in touch with one of our SmartVestor pros. They can walk you through that, help you do all of that. I did the same thing when I had an old 401k from a previous employer, and they helped me roll that over into an IRA. And that's what you want to do because that puts you in control. You have way more investing options, and it's not sitting with this old company over there. And that money can grow for you with no tax implications. That's why you want to do a direct rollover. You don't want to cash it out, put it in your bank, and then do a money move with it.
Yeah, because I was the agency where I was had my 401k said that I could just withdraw a little. I mean, not to withdraw, but like invest little by little, or just the whole thing at all. But I don't know if there's like taxes deducted from there or stuff like that.
I would just roll it over, do a direct rollover to that IRA. That's going to be your best bet. And if your new employer has a 401k, let's just start fresh and start investing future income into that. And if there's a Roth option, that's even better. Do you know if they have that?
No, I don't know about that yet. But I know they have a 401k, the traditional one, but I just didn't want to roll it over to them. I wanted actually, ever since I started listening to Ramsey, I wanted to open up a Roth IRA.
I love it. Well, you can do that, but that's going to have tax implications. So you can open up a new Roth IRA and invest future income into that. And what we say is match beats Roth beats traditional. So if your workplace has a match in that 401k, let's start there. Then let's move to a Roth IRA. You can fund that. The max is about $6,000 this year. And then if you have money left over outside of that to get to that 15% number that we want to hit, you can go back to the 401k and invest there.
Oh, okay. So just directly just roll it over to the thing is I don't really know I understand the basics of actually how investing works out. I'm not too much of a pro.
That's all right. And our SmartVestor pros will educate you. They'll walk you through what that process looks like. And if you invest 15% into that 401k at your age, you will be a millionaire, man. And that's the goal. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to be, Wolf of Wall Street to do this stuff. So go to RamseySolutions.com, get connected with one of our SmartVestor pros. They'll help you make a plan. They'll help you do the direct rollover. That's what they're there for. Thanks so much for the call. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. I'm George Kamel, joined by Christina Ellis. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back with you. Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube. Ramsey Network, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you get control of your money, get ahead in your career, and get on the path to living well. I'm George Kamel, Ramsey personality and host of the Fine Print Entree Leadership Podcast, joined today by best-selling author and fellow Ramsey personality, Christina Ellis. And we are excited to take your call about life and money. The number to dial is 888-825-5225. Don't be shy. Do it. 888-825-5225. Andrea joins us in Denver, Colorado to kick off this hour. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
I had a question about my husband and I's future real estate plan. So right now we are in a condo that we own 100%.
Awesome.
We have $50,000 in our savings account, and our plan was to live here for another 2 years and just keep stacking away money and then keep the condo that we have. And if we have like 100, 150, if not hopefully more, buy like a single family house, because we do have a couple of kids, and rent this house out. Now we would have, a small mortgage on whatever house we purchase after that, but we would get gazelle intense again and pay that off very quickly. So what do you think of that plan?
I mean, you guys are crushing it. That's incredible. I like where this is going. So the condo's paid off. What's it worth?
It's worth about $260 to $270.
And what do you think you could rent it for?
Oh gosh, we haven't even thought about that. Probably between $1,600 to $2,000 a month.
Love it. And how much is the new house going to cost?
We're hoping to stay below the $550 range.
And what's your household income?
We net $110.
Okay. So the only worrisome part is you said you're going to have $150 to put down on the new house.
I'm hoping more, but that's, being conservative, yes.
Okay. Because that leaves you guys with a $400,000 deficit that you'd have to take a mortgage out on. And my concern is that's a lot of payment from your take-home pay.
Okay.
So I might be looking at either delaying that purchase to be further out to where you could put, $350, $400 down and have a $150,000 mortgage. I'd feel a lot better about that plan. Or we look at finding a more affordable single-family home, which may be very difficult in the Denver, Colorado area, right?
Right. We're in Grand Junction, but that was the closest city. So
okay.
It's a lot less, but it's still, it's
But there's not a lot of great single-family homes for $250 in that area.
No.
Okay. So I would go, you can jump onto our mortgage calculator at RamseySolutions.com and crunch those numbers, but this is a good plan if the payment of the new house is going to be a quarter of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed. And that will dictate how much money down you would need. And if that's $150 and you still have the emergency fund and you're still investing 15%, fantastic. But if not, it just means delaying.
Well, and the condo, it's nice to have a real estate investment. It's nice to have something that's earning money, but there is also the option of selling it and getting a lot closer to having a much larger down payment and then just having your primary residence completely paid off, which I know that would feel pretty fantastic.
What do you think about that plan of selling it and using that and maybe paying cash for your primary residence?
I think that because the condo is in such a good area, I would rather stay here longer and just save more rather than selling it. So even just delaying.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, the rent that you would make, you're looking at, maybe $20,000 a year. So it's not like life-changing money. It's great. I'm a big fan of real estate investing, but I want you to do it in a way that isn't going to add stress to your life to where you're now a landlord, you've got a mortgage again. It's a big mortgage because a $400,000 mortgage on a 15-year fixed is going to be a big portion of your income. And so I just want you to do this with wisdom. It sounds like you're wanting to do that. You're wanting to do it the right way. And if that means delaying, you're okay with that.
Well, you guys have obviously shown that you're willing to make the sacrifices. The fact that you already have a 100% paid off condo, you have $50,000 in savings. You guys are tight with your money and you're doing a great job. So,
how old are you two?
My husband's 34 and I will be 33 on Wednesday.
Oh my goodness.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday. You guys are killing it. I love seeing people in their early 30s making wise money moves like this. It's awesome. Inspiring stuff.
And I also just love that she's just very relaxed about it. I feel like right now in the real estate world, people are so stressed.
There was no frenzy in her voice.
Right. That's just refreshing to hear because I feel like a lot of people in these scenarios are very much like, I'm in a condo. I need to get out now. What should I do? And there's a lot of like panic around real estate just in general right now. So I think it's just, she's in such a great place. It's very refreshing to hear that.
It was calming to me.
Yeah.
So thank you, Andrea. All right, James joins us up next in Hartford, Connecticut. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for taking my call. I really appreciate it. How are you both doing today?
We are so. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that, James. What's going on with you?
So, first of all, we'd like to start out by saying that Dave has completely changed both the life for myself and my wife. We've gone from being in $30,000 in debt to being debt-free to having a fully funded emergency fund.
Awesome.
But we've been kind of Dave-ish, and we've had a discussion because it comes down to Costco.
Oh.
And I know you guys are big supporters of Costco.
Big Kirkland Signature fan over here. I got the sweatshirt and everything.
My man. Thank you very much. That's great to hear. It's one of our favorite experiences of the week. But what it comes down to is we have not, I regret to say, gotten rid of the Costco credit card because there's a year, an annual fee. And my wife's argument is that, well, we spend money at Costco, we get the cash back on the credit card, so it covers our annual fee.
And then some.
And then some.
I love that she's right there next to you, being like, "Give him the full story, James."
We are trying to, because we're trying to not be on speakerphone, but she is right here with me.
Love
and
it.
we, I love it, and I love her too, and I appreciate her opinion. And I don't want to be Dave-ish. I want to completely commit to this lifestyle because it really has, from the point of giving to every aspect of our life, it's changed everything. We've never been so comfortable, even in these most turbulent times, but we have not gotten rid of the Costco credit card with the cash back because of the annual fee. And she's like, it covers the annual fee and more.
We get like $700 a year cash back. We pay no interest. So for us,
because we pay it off every month.
Right.
Sure.
So we need you to weigh in on this because I have no argument. I have nowhere to go with it.
I cannot wait to give you my opinion, and this is rare, but I'm going to hold you over the break, so hang on the line. We're going to come back to you, and I want to hear from your wife's side of the story because you're convinced, but if she's right there, we got to talk to her about Costco. This is my favorite call of the day. So hang on the line, James. We're going to have a conversation about Costco, about credit cards, about rewards, cash back, all of it right here on The Ramsey Show. Stick around. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. If you missed it, just before the break, we were talking to our friend James in Hartford, Connecticut, and they are debt-free, fully funded emergency fund, doing the Ramsey plan, but ish, because they can't get rid of the Costco credit card. It's too emotional. So we're going to go back to James here and see what his wife has to say, who is also on speakerphone. James, are you with us?
Yes, and I have my wife Shannon here.
Shannon,
and I can't
okay.
wait to hear her perspective on this whole thing.
Yeah, Shannon, all right, lay it out for us. What do you love about this card that it's like under your pillow at night and you're snuggling it?
Okay, so my thing is we don't ever pay interest. We always make sure that we only spend what we can afford. But then, at the end of the year, like I get my gas cheaper every time I get gas. I save money, occasionally on everything that we buy, including milk, bread, eggs, which we have now gone to Costco for because of the cost of the grocery store in opposition to what Costco charges. And so at the end of the year, we usually Costco does 2 different checks. And at the end of the year, when we total it all up, it becomes anywhere from like a $700 to $900 increase in money, I'll say. So even if we spend $150 in our fee for our Costco card, we still get back anywhere between $700 and $900 interest-free. We have never paid interest. We have never paid a late fee. And we still save on the goods that we would buy every week for our home, for our family. So for me, I kind of look at it as, well, every week we buy gas, we save money on gas. Every week we buy milk, bread, eggs, laundry detergent, things like that. I'm a coupon shopper, so I always save money. And at the end of the year, we get that bonus. And my husband wants to cancel the card. And me, I'm like, but it takes me, I have to work 2 full shifts at the hospital to gain that $700 to $900. And
it's 2 days a week I don't have to work and to get that extra money. And it's like, it's just, in my sense, it's free money. And he disagrees.
All right, James, your turn to weigh in.
Well, here's what so she actually just made a very good point earlier. I didn't even have to say it. She said, I went to the grocery store the other day, and I brought the cash because we have our grocery store envelope. Yes, thank you, Dave Ramsey, for that. We have our grocery cash envelope. And she said, I had $120 in there, but I also had another $28 in cash already in there. So she thought that would be plenty of money. Next thing you know, it was like $130. And it killed her to throw that $130 out there. She couldn't believe that we were spending that much on the groceries. And there was that moment of pause where she felt like, maybe should we spend this or should we not? So I thought, maybe there's been these moments where we're at Costco and we potentially would have had that same moment, but because we're putting it on the Costco credit card, we just, said, you know what, we'll pay it at the end of the month, which we do, because we, at the end of the month, we do the tally and we decide, what goes into our savings, what goes into, if we have any extra to, top off our Roth, we'll do that. But maybe we would not have made that purchase had we gone in there with cash with the regular Costco membership. So that's where
James
I'm at.
makes a good point, Shannon. You got to give it to him there. It hurts when you spend cash. You know why those employees are at the doors to check your receipt?
Why?
Because they have to make sure you spent $200 at Costco legally. That's what they're there for. They know Shannon wouldn't steal.
You've only spent $50.
What? You bought one thing at Costco. You bought what? Laundry detergent?
Laundry
How often are you at Costco? You should just work there at this point. This is impressive. She is always there.
Yeah, she is. She's always there at the door calculating our expenses.
How about we have a compromise here, Shannon? What if we cut up the card, okay? And then we get the executive Costco membership.
That's what I have.
You have that, which gives you 2% back already without the credit card.
And 4% on gas.
Okay, the 4% on gas, now that gas is calming down, that doesn't add up to that much a year. How much are you guys spending on gas every week?
Well, it's not that much. However, I do fill up my gas tank. I have an SUV. I do fill up my gas tank once a week at Costco, and I do save an average of about 12 to 14 cents per gallon.
But I'm saying, let's say, you got with the SUV, what, $100 to fill up, 120?
No, it's like $78.
Okay, so let me just do some math because we're here. We're already deep in this Costco thing. You spend $4,000 a year. $78 a week times 52 is $4,000. You said you get 4%. All right, we're making $160 off of this.
Yep.
How much do you guys make a year?
Like $2-something total, probably.
You make over $200,000, and we're hanging on to a card to get $100.
Yeah.
I love you.
I'm just saying, you guys are good. Now, the truth is, is this going to tank your life to keep this card around? No. You can still retire with dignity. You're going to be millionaires. You make a great income. You're doing the Ramsey plan almost. And so...
Well, the thing is it's new. We're newly found. I'm 47. My husband is 40, and we are newly found Ramsey.
Like 2 years.
I love it.
It's only been about 2 years.
And you've already made this much progress. All while hanging on to a credit card. So now imagine we let go. Just do this challenge for me, Shannon. What if you don't even have to cut it up tomorrow? Give it 2 weeks and spend hard, cold cash at Costco without touching the card. You're going to miss out on the precious cash back, right? But I want you to see how much you save in spending, the original amount you spent by doing that. And you can call the show back. Austin will remember you. He'll never forget James and Shannon from Hartford. And because I'm a Costco member, I've got the executive membership. Ramsey covers the cost for our team members. My wife works here, so they're nice enough to cover the executive membership. And we just got our big check for the year of like $111 in cash back. And it doesn't change my life. I don't go to I'm going to spend $1,000 more at Costco to get the cash back. But James is right. There's a subconscious piece to this. When you spend hard, cold cash, it physically hurts, especially at these wholesale clubs where everything's expensive.
Can I just pause and say, I love this. I feel like this should be a new thing on the Ramsey Show. Settle the debate.
Yes.
We have so many, like, one spouse calls in and it's like, I wonder what the other spouse is thinking. But y'all just brought something new.
And I love that you guys are in on this. Usually one spouse calls in and the other spouse isn't there to defend themselves. But Shannon is here to defend her good name.
Oh, no, I'm here. Yeah.
I love
I'm
it.
here. We're in this together. We did this. We started this together. We are in this together. And we've also got our 20 and 24-year-old sons involved, where we are trying to get them 100%, Ramsey all the way. So
do you have them opening credit cards?
Do what?
Do you have them opening credit cards?
No, not at all.
But why not?
I want to go from ish, which is a wish, to Dave all the way. So that's where we're at right now.
So, Shannon, why not have all the kids open up as many credit cards as possible and get all the cash back as possible?
No, see, I disagree with that. Because
Why?
I do disagree with that. But Costco is the only place that we actually spend a certain amount of money. Like, I won't go to a store just because they offer, a discount or a cash. I won't just use my credit card for that. Like, I don't do that. But
Okay.
Costco, because we get so much cash back at the end of the year, we do a lot with giving. We do a lot with, we did Make-A-Wish this year. We do, food banks. We do Christmas clubs. We do all sorts of things where we give back because, my husband, when he started this with us, because it was all him, I will say it was all James, 100%, Dave Ramsey, full in. We do give back, and we believe in that. So it's kind of like, if we have this extra money, it's more that we can give, and it is kind of
What a
nice.
big
It's
heart.
nice to get that check back, or to even if I was one day at the store and you have that check, you say, okay, well, today's groceries we don't have to pay for because we've paid for it essentially all year round by not paying any interest, not paying any fees. Our 100 and whatever dollar amount Costco charges was covered, and now they've given us back money for being a good
You're sweet,
member. And
sweet people. Well, I just want to hang out with James and Shannon. They're awesome. Here, do me another solid. Go listen to the Fine Print Episode 2, The True Cost of Credit Card Rewards. You might find out some fascinating things in that episode that I did on that. Hope it changes your mind. But if not, you guys are going to live. But I want you to go all in on this plan because that's where the true life change happens. That's where you make decisions differently because you're spending your own money instead of the bank's. Thanks so much for the call, guys. That was a good time. This is The Ramsey Show. Well, folks, all of us here at Ramsey know that you've had enough stress lately when it comes to the rising cost of gas and groceries. You might feel trapped in a dead-end career. Your relationships might need improvement. Enough is enough. You deserve a break. And that is why we brought back the Ramsey $10 sale on our #1 best-selling books and tools. But the sale is available for just 3 more days. So if you're ready to say, you know what, I'm done living this way. If you want to hit the reset button on your life, you can take advantage of some of our best-selling products and tools to do that, including the baby steps, which is what I use to climb out of debt and build wealth. We also have the Total Money Makeover, Know Yourself, Know Your Money's on there. You can also pick up Questions for Humans Couples Edition if you need to reconnect with the spouse. Christina, this is very hard for me to do because we get home, you're tired, you just want to sit on your phone on social media and scroll, right?
Oh, man, we love the Questions for Humans Couples Edition. We actually did that on our date night recently. We've got kids, and it's so easy.
Teacher's pet. Where's John Deloney when you need him? He's going to give you a gold star.
But it's so easy as a parent to, like, when you go out on your date night, you're just talking about your kids and you're talking about everyday life. And this, like, actually challenges you to have deep, real conversations.
Well, most conversations are, how was your day? Good. How was your day? Fine. What are we doing for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to do? That's like 80% of marriage, right? Or nagging, like, we got to do the laundry. I did the dishes last time. And so this is a great way to actually connect as a couple. That's on there as well. Dave's brand new book on personal growth, The Momentum Theorem, is also on there if you want to start making changes for everything you need in life. And this is the cost of a burrito these days. $10. That's amazing. So there's only 3 days left to take advantage of this, and we're offering a free financial coaching call with any purchase. That is worth the $10 alone. That's amazing. You can talk with a Ramsey Preferred coach about your specific money questions and plans with that free financial coaching call. So get it before the sale ends. Go to RamseySolutions.com and check out all of the products included in the $10 sale. All right, Gene joins us up next in Atlanta. Gene, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, I guess. How are you?
We are doing well. How can we help today?
Yes, I just recently got out of a relationship, and I own the house. My name is on the mortgage, and a few years ago, my boyfriend had pressured me to put his name on the deed. And now that I'm in the house by myself, I don't know how to get his name off the deed, so that I'm kind of upside down in it. I heard Rachel. I just started watching y'all last week, and I heard Rachel say that if your mortgage is more than 50% of your income, then you're house poor. And so I've been scrambling, trying to figure out what I need to do. I'm afraid that the house might go into foreclosure because I can't sell it because his name is on the deed if I needed to.
I'm so sorry, Gene. So is he out of the picture now?
Yeah, he was removed from the home. I was in an abusive relationship with him.
I'm so sorry.
So they had to. Thank you.
Are you okay now? Are you safe?
Yes, I just got back a couple months. Last week actually.
Okay.
I had stayed out of the house for 2 months, but he still hasn't moved his things out. So.
Are you getting any help professionally from a counselor? Any support, mental health?
No.
Okay.
I can't afford it right now. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the house. I'm paying the mortgage. I'm in credit card debt that has built up over the few years that we were together, and so I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul right now.
Do you have a pen and paper nearby?
I do.
Okay. Write this word down. Quitclaim deed. That's what you're going to need him to sign in order to be able to sell the house.
I've looked that up, and I don't think he's going to do it.
Well, at that point, you need to take him to court.
He wants me. I can't afford to even go to court. It's that bad of a situation.
Well, we need him to sign this quitclaim deed in order to go through with this process, and you do that with your escrow company, your local title company there in the Atlanta area. And
I've called.
What are they saying?
Nobody. My mortgage company says I have to. That's a deed problem, and the lawyers that I've called are basically saying that it's a civil matter.
Are you able to get a public defender?
I've been calling public defenders, and at least the ones that I've called were through the domestic violence people, and they don't know, and they can't reference me. They call, I just called somebody today, and they just told me that that was a legal matter for civil litigation.
I'm so sorry, Gene. This is a messy situation.
Yeah, my heart goes out to you, Jane. I do wonder, you said you worked with a domestic violence shelter. What kind of resources have they offered?
Well, they were able to get my locks changed so far, but I've talked to them about it, and even the lawyer there, they're just domestic violence lawyers, but it's like I either need a real estate lawyer or like I said, the civil litigation.
Well, I do wonder if some of the attorneys that are within that shelter could recommend any other attorneys that would perhaps work with you on a pro bono situation.
I've asked, and they don't really know. They just kind of put it back into my hands to find out. And my ex wants me to drop the restraining order, but
what is that going to do for you?
Yeah.
Other than put you in danger.
Yeah. So and I'm not speaking with him. I mean, during the threats, he would say he would give me back the house, but he hasn't said anything about it now.
How many, so you connected with one domestic violence shelter. Are there any other?
I did call another one who gave me the name of a lawyer, but the lawyer that I spoke to told me that she was for marriages. She's a marriage lawyer, not, and she said
because it was a boyfriend and not a spouse?
Yes.
Well, we're going to have to beat down the doors of some of these public defenders and get someone to fight for you in a court of law to get him to sign this quitclaim deed and have a judge go, you're signing this thing, or they're going to go after him. That seems to be your only option at this point, because we can't sell the house without getting the quitclaim deed, and here you are trying to afford this mortgage. And so you need to at least contact your lender and say, listen, here's the situation. I can't afford this mortgage. You can foreclose if you want to, and I want to sell this thing, but I can't until he signs the quitclaim deed. So I'm in kind of a conundrum here. Have you explained that to them?
Yeah, I did call them a few months ago, and I told them the situation, and they were saying that I would probably need to call a deed lawyer.
Yeah. Have you done that?
Yeah, but they gave me the number to another lawyer, and they said that we would probably have to be forced to sell the house and split the proceeds.
Yeah. Well, Gene, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I wish we could help further. What I am going to do is give you a free financial coaching session with someone in your area who can dig deeper than we can on a quick radio call here. So hang on the line. Austin's going to pick up, and we're going to gift that to you. And it'll be about an hour, and they'll walk you through all the resources available in their area. They'll be more knowledgeable than we are about what's going on in the Atlanta area. But it sounds like there's only one route here, and it's to get a lawyer who's willing to do this pro bono, get a public defender, someone who was willing to do this, since you don't have the money to cover it, to get him to sign. But that's the only way out of this thing with a quitclaim deed. I mean, that is a legal document saying that he is part owner in this house, and without that, we can't sell the house. And so that is the A1, and I hate that you have to go fight all this after going through what you went through. I cannot imagine. But that's the situation we find ourselves in.
I would also encourage you to reach out to some mental health professionals who work on a sliding scale, because there are some out there. I've had friends who've gone to counseling for $10 because that's all they could afford. But you do have to find them that work on a sliding scale. I think that could really help you process some of this trauma and pain that you've been through.
Well, hang on the line, Gene. Austin will pick up. We will get you connected with that financial coach. And if there's anything else we can do for you along the way to get you out of this awful situation, please call us back. We are here for you. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Mark Twain said, do the right thing. It will gratify some people and astonish the rest. Ain't that the truth?
It's good.
I'm George Campbell, joined by Christina Ellis, and we've been talking a lot about student loan forgiveness, and it's, spun up a whole bunch in the news cycle, and we found this article from MSN and BuzzFeed. People who regret their student loans are sharing what they make now, and it's heartbreaking. And this speaks to the fact that so many kids that I talk to, that you've talked to, go, well, Christina, I'll take out student loans because I'm going to make like a ton of money when I graduate. I'll be able to pay it back so easily. And we have some real people showing us that that is not quite the truth.
Right. Well, what's sad is that a lot of loan officers, a lot of people, when kids encounter them at the college, they say, hey, it's going to be easy to pay this back. You're going to get this awesome job after graduation. And these stories highlight that that's not always true.
Yeah, let's read a few just to really brighten up your day here. All right. One person said, I was a single mom of 2 small children, was told over and over that college was the only way out of poverty. Well, got my degree and still make less than $50,000 a year. I currently owe $130,000. I'll never be able to pay it off or purchase a home. I'm 52. I have no idea how I'll retire or even live once I can't work anymore.
This next one says, I'm about to turn 65. I have over $100,000 owed in student loans and regret having gone to college as my earnings are $60,000 yearly. I have had to file bankruptcy and can't afford to retire because I have a chronic health condition and will be paying student loans until I die. This debt should be removed for senior citizens.
Oh, man. Here's another one. My teacher's salary in Southeast Missouri was $30,000 a year. Student loan total with interest, $66,000. In June, I became a social worker, making $36,000 a year. This is brutal.
Yeah. This one says, I regret going to veterinary school. Between undergrad and vet school, I have $360,000 in student loans. I make $125,000.
And I'll end on this one. I have a BA in telecommunications, making $45K. I'm in debt for $139K. When I graduated 13 years ago, my debt was $115. I've been making payments all of those 13 years, SMH, which for those of you over 35 means shaking my head. There we go.
Ooh.
Wow, this is dark stuff, Christina, and it's led to a lot of people just going, I'm just not going to worry about this because it's too much to worry about. I can't handle the stress of it.
Right. And one, especially with the pandemic pause, a lot of this it's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. So people haven't had to worry about it. And yes, there's forgiveness now, but these stories highlight that there are still people in a lot of pain with a lot of anxiety and a lot of debt still. So we've seen this TikTok trend recently called the ostrich method, where people basically are thinking that the best idea is to just stick their head in the sand and kind of not think about their student
You know what this
loans.
is like? It's like when you played hide and seek and you just put your hand in front of your eyes and you were like, well, if I can't see them, they can't see me. Doesn't work like that, does it? So here's what the article from US Today says about the ostrich method.
Yeah, it says relatable jokes about ignoring student debt and dodging student loan payments are popular across social media. After all, the pause on federal student loan payments has been extended multiple times over the past two presidential administrations during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and many borrowers haven't had to make payments for nearly 2.5 years. The 2+ year hiatus hasn't stopped for social media users from joking about how they'd like to avoid any and all payments. But what would happen if the freeze on student loans is lifted and you didn't pay? People are asking.
So what's happened is for 2.5 years we haven't made payments, and so everyone's gone, well, it's been 2.5 years. I'm used to not making payments. What if I just kept not making payments even when they become due?
That's a scary thought.
Well, here's what happens if you miss a federal student loan payment, it's considered delinquent. So that's the starting point. Not good. And remember, you signed a contract that says you're going to pay this money back with interest, and if you don't uphold your end of the bargain, there are penalties associated on top of the interest. And then your loan can go into what's known as default, which many, many people do, which then damages your credit, which you know our feelings about the credit score. We say you don't need the credit score system, but a bad credit score will hurt you. We want you to have no credit score because you don't touch debt. And this goes on, Christina. This is not fun because once it goes into default, your hit to your credit's not the only consequence. You also lose repayment plan options. You face other penalties. And then the government can garnish your wages. And they can withhold your tax refunds, the child tax credit. They can withhold Social Security payments. So this is going to follow you forever. It's not going to go away. There's not going to be a magic wand where they go, well, it's been 10 years and Christina hasn't paid. This is something you can't even bankrupt on.
No, you can't run away from this situation. And I think what is so concerning about this pause and the fact that students are even having these questions, there's a lot of students who graduated during the pandemic. They haven't paid their loans. This is their first experience with money and the commitment of having to pay something back. And it's just been paused and extended. So it's easy to kind of fall into that mindset of like, maybe this is the way things are. Maybe I don't have to be responsible for, the things that I said I would do. And that's just a scary way to set out on your financial journey.
Yeah, and many people have not been budgeting for this, of course, because they haven't been making payments. And so it is going to be a dark day when all of a sudden they go, time to pay the piper. And you go, oh my gosh, $600, $800 a month for these payments? I just found all of my old student loan documentation when I was back home in Boston, and my parents said, here's all your childhood memorabilia. And over half of it was just student loan bills that were coming in the mail. And more marketing from Sally Mae about how great, they were called smart option loans. That feels like it should be illegal. Smart option. They're marketing this like, well, there's a lot of bad loans. We're the good loan out there. So this is scary stuff. You can also lose eligibility for additional federal student aid. You may not be able to buy or sell assets like real estate. There can be legal action against you. You can get sued. And if you still are like, okay, that doesn't seem so bad, please go watch the Borrowed Future documentary or listen to the Borrowed Future podcast, where we interview a student loan attorney. And it is frightening. It is a moment I'll never forget in the documentary where she says that the lenders are basically saying, give me your pound of flesh. And the way she says it has stuck with me. It is seared in my memory from Beverly. And
I kind of got chills, like the tingles down my arm.
You can't ignore this boogie monster. And it is under your bed. And the only way to do it is to flash the light and go, how much do we owe? And how are we going to pay this off?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, you got to face it. I mean, even if, so now it's been extended till December, and I would encourage you, don't use that time to just do the ostrich method and stick your head in the sand. Look at it now. Start budgeting for it. Get that payment back in your life and start, actually tackling it. This is the best time to be paying down your student loans because the money is actually going to principal versus interest. So this is when you can make the most progress.
Yeah, I remember the stories are just coming back from when I did the Borrowed Future podcast and, talking to a woman that was older who was going, I'm worth more dead than alive at this point, and the student loan is just going to go to the grave with me, and my balance was 90, and now it's 120. And so especially these income-based repayment plans are actually hurting a lot of Americans because they're not even touching the balance. The balance keeps growing because they're only making you pay this much, and they're acting like they're your friend for doing it.
Right.
And yet the balance grows and grows and grows like a cancer. It's terrible.
Well, and it's like we've normalized keeping student loans around for years. We've normalized this being a 20 to 25-year journey, and we say that does not have to be the case. We've had people walk through these doors at Ramsey Solutions with tons of debt, and typically the average person pays off their student loans in 18 to 24 months. So I don't want you to just buy into this lie that you have to keep these loans in your life forever. You can get rid of them. I actually recently created a course called The Ultimate Guide to Getting Rid of Your Student Loan Debt.
Ooh.
And it's to help people find that motivation, find that drive, and the actual tools and resources and practical guidance to get that out of your life for good. So it's actually free for Ramsey Plus members. And if you're not a Ramsey Plus member, you can find it at ChristinaEllis.com/start.
I love that. Well, the key is here, number one, get riled up. Because if we keep ignoring it, then nothing's going to happen. Our life will continue to stay the same, and we'll live a life of mediocrity and debt. So do something about this. Do the debt snowball, follow a plan, get riled up. Don't wait on Washington to fix this, okay? Folks, this is on us. This is on the parents to have conversations early and often with our kids about how we're going to make a plan to go to school debt-free. It can be done.
Yes.
Well, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Christina Ellis, all the folks in the booth, Austin, Ben, James, Zach, Andrew, and you, America. We appreciate you listening in. Until next time, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously. Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.